Welcome back to the deep dive. It's funny how sometimes the topics that seem the simplest, well, they really have the most to unpack. And I think today is definitely one of those days when you say,
Oh, absolutely.
we're diving into something that I think is pretty universal, that desire to be seen, to be valued, even sought after,
Mm.
especially when we feel like we've maybe kind of strayed.
Yeah, definitely. That resonates.
And to guide us on this deep dive, we're turning to Elder Juan Uceda's April 2023 General Conference message, The Lord Jesus Christ Teaches Us to Minister.
Great message.
Oh, it really is. This talk really resonated with me, especially the way Elder Uceda takes this idea of what it means to be a shepherd, and he kind of makes you see it in a whole new way.
Yeah.
It's true. It's like he doesn't just talk about a good shepherd, right? He actually goes back to the original Greek, and it's closer to beautiful or even magnificent, which is a whole different level, don't you think?
It really is. It's not just about, doing the right thing. It's about, I don't know, elevating it somehow.
Exactly. It makes you think about Christ as the good shepherd, not just like protecting us, but somehow making us more by knowing him.
Mm-hmm.
More beautiful, more magnificent. What do you think that even means for us
Mm-hmm.
when we're trying to minister the way Christ did?
Wow. That's a big question. I mean, if we're talking about being those beautiful, those magnificent shepherds to each other, it's definitely not just about being nice,
Yeah.
right? Or doing the bare minimum.
No, not at all.
And it makes me think about those three parables Elder Uceda talks about. The lost sheep, the lost coin, even the prodigal son. Each one, it's all about this one thing that's lost and then this huge effort to find it.
And it never feels like an obligation, does it?
Not at all.
There's this real joy there, this excitement in finding that lost sheep or that coin or that son.
Yeah.
Like each person is just that precious.
Yeah, and you can feel that in the way Elder Uceda tells those stories, can't you?
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes this message so relevant for us, today. It's so easy to get caught up in everything we have going on, all the routines and lists. But those parables, they remind us that true ministry, the kind that Christ taught, it's so personal. It's about seeing each person as like a whole universe.
And sometimes those universes, they're hurting.
Yeah.
And Elder Uceda actually shares this incredibly moving story about this man, Florian. He was a really dedicated church member, but then he goes through a divorce and, well, things kind of fall apart for him. He felt judged, stopped coming to church, the whole 9 yards.
But that part really got to me. You can just feel the raw emotion there. You got Florian who's hurting, his daughter Julia who's just heartbroken, and then Elder Uceda, he just refuses to give up on this guy. He just keeps reaching out, even when Florian's pushing him away.
It's like he sees something in Florian that Florian himself doesn't even see anymore.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the people who seem the most put together on the outside, they're the ones struggling in silence. And what they really need isn't judgment. It's that persistent love, that Christ-like love that just refuses to let go.
It's that willingness to just keep showing up, isn't it? No matter what.
And you know what's interesting? That's where I think this story takes a really unexpected turn. You'd think it was all about getting Florian back to church, right?
Right.
But for Elder Uceda, it clearly goes so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
And it's not about, numbers.
Yeah.
It's about the individual.
Exactly. And there's this one part where Elder Uceda actually goes to see Florian, and what he says, it just gives me chills even thinking about it now. He basically says, I apologize for our not being there for you. Please forgive us. Give us another chance.
Wow.
Can you imagine hearing that?
It's like he's not even talking about, doctrine or church programs or any of that. It's just raw human connection.
It really is. It's like he's acknowledging that the church as a whole, let Florian down. And instead of shying away from that, he owns it, takes responsibility, asks for forgiveness.
It's incredibly humbling.
It really is.
And that's what makes this story so powerful, I think, for all of us. It doesn't matter, what your background is, what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most important thing we can do is just say, I'm sorry. You matter.
It makes you think about all those times, and maybe we gave up too easily.
Oh, yeah.
Sent that text, left that message, didn't get a response, and just moved on.
It's so easy to do, especially these days. Everyone's so busy.
Exactly. But Elder Uceda's example, the way he just keeps reaching out to Florian,
It's inspiring.
it's a reminder that sometimes connection, it takes time. It takes persistence. And sometimes it takes, meeting people where they are.
Even if that where isn't a place we're comfortable with.
Exactly. Because healing can't begin until until we acknowledge those feelings, those hurts, that's where the real ministry happens.
Not in a building or during a meeting.
It's in those raw, vulnerable spaces where we choose to just show up for each other authentically.
And the amazing thing, Florian, he actually does come back. He starts coming to church again. He even gets to experience, that feeling again of belonging, of being loved and valued.
It's a beautiful moment. Redemption, almost.
It is, even though it's, kind of bittersweet.
Because he doesn't have a lot of time. Right?
Yeah. We know Florian passes away just a few months later.
And it would be so easy to see that and think, what was the point? But I don't think that's what Florian's story is about.
What do you think it's about then?
I think it's about impact. Even in those few short months, think about who else Florian might have touched. Who else felt seen, felt valued, felt loved because of the way Elder Uceda ministered to him.
It's like we just naturally focus on that, the
Yeah.
immediate outcome. But we never really see the full impact of, anything we do.
It's like throwing a pebble in a pond, right?
Yeah.
Those ripples, they just keep going.
And you just never know whose life they might touch. It makes me think about that quote. I think it was Mother Teresa who said it. Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love.
Oh, I love that.
It's so true, right?
It is.
And sometimes those small things, that phone call, that act of kindness, even just a genuine apology,
Yeah.
those are the things that make all the difference. Like Elder Uceda said, every life is precious. And when we really, truly approach each other with that in mind, with that Christ-like love,
It changes everything.
it does. We create these ripples of hope, and they go way beyond just ourselves.
It's amazing. It's powerful.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into Elder Uceda's message, what's the one thing you hope, really sticks with our listeners today? What do you want them to carry with them?
For me, it really comes down to this idea that every single one of us, we're carrying around a story. And sometimes the most important thing, the most Christ-like thing we can do is just see each other, really see each other, hear each other's stories, and just love each other back to wholeness. Just like that Good Shepherd, he never stops looking for the one.
That's beautiful. Something to think about for sure. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.